What's going on, NFL fans? It's Mitchell Renz from Chat Sports, and coming up here on today's show, we're going to get into our AFC playoff picture. I'm going to be breaking down the seeds 1 through 7, and you know what? Because the AFC is just so doggone close, we're going to be breaking down all the teams that are in the hunt as well. Now, first, let's concentrate on some of these division leaders, and shout out to the Kansas City Chiefs, the number 1 seed, 11-4. They have clinched the division. They have clinched the AFC West. Now the Tennessee Titans are at 2. The Bengals are at number 3. And look at that, a new team at number 4 after the Buffalo Bills took care of business up against the New England Patriots today. Now, if you're a diehard NFL fan, if you're looking for content every single day, all I ask you guys to do is hit that big red button underneath this video. Turn on those notifications. That way you don't miss a thing. And one of the things I love about Chat Sports, see that sports name in our title? It's because we talk about the NBA. We talk about college football. Now's the time of the year where this is like the most entertaining time of sports. NFL playoffs, college football mania. We got you covered here, so I don't want you to miss it. Hit that subscribe button. So let's talk about the number 1 seed, the Kansas City Chiefs. And this team is just absolutely rocking and rolling right now after a 36-10 win against the Steelers. And if you watch this game, they could have won. They literally could have won like 50-0. I mean, there's not a better team playing in football right now than Kansas City. I might be able to argue Indianapolis, but we'll get to them here in a second. They have a really tough game up against the Cincinnati Bengals, which might not impact the Chiefs all that much, but it's really going to shake up certain things in the AFC. But the fact that they have clinched the West, they have clinched their playoff berth. So let's look at here the AFC West standings. This is going to be a very interesting we'll say division as it finally comes down. The Chargers, they lost an unbelievable game to the Texans, which kind of just shows that you can lose any week possible. The Raiders, they had a big win over the Broncos, 13-17 this week. But the Raiders and the Chargers, they play the final week of the season. So it could really come down to who ends up making the playoffs, winning that final game. Let's go to the number 2 seed here in the AFC. It's the Tennessee Titans. They took down the San Francisco 49ers 20-17 earlier on this week. And when you look at their game against Miami in Week 17, now I am making this video before Monday Night Football, and we'll break down at the end of today's show if the Dolphins win on Monday Night Football against the Saints, what the playoff picture looks like, and if they lose, because it looks a lot different. And a big game is going to be that Week 17 game between the Titans and between Miami, and they're still able to win some games without Derrick Henry. We'll see if Henry's going to be able to come back and play sooner rather than later. But if Tennessee gets into the playoffs and they get back King Henry, it's going to be a team that nobody, and I mean nobody, is going to want to play. So let's look at the AFC South standings here, because a few weeks ago I came on the NFL Daily Show here and we were talking about a lot of stuff going on, and realistically, I was like, if I was Tennessee, I'd be a little bit nervous. They're 10-5 as it stands right now. Indianapolis is 9-6. Sure, you're not going to worry about Houston. You're not going to worry about Jacksonville. But if Indy wins out and if Tennessee somehow loses 1 or 2 games, the Colts have a shot to sneak in and become this leader here in this division. So, NFL fans, I want you guys to go down to the comments section, and you know what? I'm going to make this the pinned comment on today's show. For those of you that have just no idea what that means, it means when you come across today's video, you're going to see the very, very first comment, and it says, who's the best team in the AFC? So please go ahead and argue down there while you're getting hit with that YouTube ad break. Who's the best team in the AFC? Let's now go to the number 3 seed here in the AFC after a very impressive, very dominant win. The Cincinnati Bengals, who have just embarrassed the Baltimore Ravens this season, dropping 41 points in both of their contests. Now here's the real test. You got the Kansas City Chiefs in Week 17, and if you want to take Cincinnati seriously, if you want to be like, you know what, Joe Burrow, who balled out today over 400 yards, in fact, I think he had like 500 yards, 4 touchdowns. Wish he would have done that last week for my fantasy team, but that's beyond the point. Here's the thing, though. The way that these teams are all playing in this division right now, the Bengals are the best team with a 9-6 record. Baltimore continues to lose games. I understand. Lamar Jackson, he's banged up. The defense is banged up. Pittsburgh doesn't scare me. Cleveland, they've been slumping a little bit, even though I thought that they actually probably had a chance to win up against Green Bay on Christmas. But for the Bengals, you're 9-6. You control your own destiny. This is going to be a team that wins the North. Let's now go to the East, and, well, look at this. We got a new team leading the AFC East. It's the Buffalo Bills with a huge 33-21 victory over the New England Patriots. And when you look at their Week 17 matchup, you got the Atlanta Falcons. This should be another big-time win. They're in the driver's seat with 2 weeks left. I came on a show a few weeks ago when I was live on NFL Daily, and I said the Buffalo Bills are going to win this division. They're the best team from top to bottom, whether it's Josh Allen, and I get it. They don't have a running game, but when you have this team clicking on all cylinders, they're a tough team to slow down. I have a lot of respect for Bill Belichick. I have a lot of respect for the New England Patriots. But when you saw this team go down, Mac Jones just couldn't hang with this overall offensive potency that Buffalo has. Now, sure, Stephon Diggs went down for a short amount of time. I lost my breath, but luckily he was able to be okay. Here's the AFC East standings as it stands right now. This is one of the most competitive divisions in all of football. I mean, you have the Bills who are 9-6. If they win out, they win the division. The Patriots, they play the Miami Dolphins their final week of the season. The Dolphins, they're another team that they 100% control their own destiny. And if you're Buffalo, though, which is the team we're talking about here, you should be able to win your final 2 games, finish the season with 11-6, and with the Tennessee Titans being a question mark, with the Cincinnati Bengals being a question mark, if I'm being 100% honest with you, it would not surprise me if Buffalo finishes as the number 2 seed in the AFC. Now, maybe Santa Claus didn't come visit you. Maybe you were a naughty boy. Maybe you were a naughty girl. I don't know. Usually I'm into the whole naughty stuff. But here's the thing. I'm interested in staying warm. That's a guarantee. Now, if you guys haven't already, go ahead and go to chatsports.com/NFL hoodie, where you can get your favorite team's hoodie for 50% off. I mean, some of these hooded sweatshirts, guys, are under $30. I mean, we got unbelievable deals here for all 32 teams. There's even different hoodies for different teams. If it's cold in your area, right now I'm located in Dallas, Texas. I'm able to wear a t-shirt, but I was in Pennsylvania all week visiting my family. In fact, I did see a lot of Eagle sweatshirts walking around, some Steelers one as well. Dude, it was like 20 degrees. It was nipply as hell. So please, go to chatsports.com/NFL hoodie. Make sure you're staying warm and make sure you're repping your favorite team. So we talked about the division leaders. Now it's time to talk about the wild card. And when I made this show last week, it actually amazes me on how much different the overall teams have looked. Like when you look at the Indianapolis Colts record, the Colts are sitting there with a 9-6 record. The New England Patriots are also 9-6. And you got the Baltimore Ravens with an 8-7 record. But then you look underneath the others, which, don't worry, we will talk about the Chargers. We will talk about the Raiders today, because the Chargers, they lost to the Houston Texans. The Raiders, they ended up beating the Denver Broncos 17-13. But let's talk about Indy. They had a major 26-16 win over Arizona. And realistically, I actually thought that Indy was in 100% control from this game from start to finish. Now, Week 17 is a big-time game for both squads, because if the Raiders are able to take down Indianapolis, the Colts, they fall down to 9-7. The Raiders go to 9-7. And for Las Vegas, then you would have tiebreakers over the Colts, over the Ravens, over the Browns, over the Steelers, over the Dolphins. And then your final game is basically left up for you to go up against the Chargers. But here's the other issue. I said it earlier in the show, the Chiefs are the hottest team in football, but if there is one team I do not want to play right now, led by Jonathan Taylor, led by a great defensive unit. Now, they won't have Darius Leonard next week because of COVID. Indianapolis is not a team I would want to play, but they need Tennessee to lose for a chance to win the AFC South. Let's look at now the New England Patriots, the number 6 seed, and I get it. They lost to Buffalo. They also lost to the Colts, so back-to-back losing weeks here for the New England. But does anybody want to play Bill Belichick in January? Please answer that question for me, because the answer is no. You have the greatest head coach of all time. Mac Jones is Rookie of the Year. You have arguably the best defense in all of football, and the colder and colder these games get, I think the more and more it's going to help out New England. Now, sure, you should be able to take down the Jacksonville Jaguars, and I get it. They are playing bad over the past few games, but you lost to a very good Buffalo Bills team. You lost to a very good Indianapolis Colts team. If I'm New England, I'm going to carry a chip on my shoulder, and it's a team, I'm telling you, you do not want to play. Let's go to the 7th seed, and this is kind of a weird thing. Baltimore loses this week. Entering Sunday, they were not in the playoff picture, but because of the Chargers losing to the Texans, they're able to sneak their way in. So sure, today was a rough game. They lost 41-21 to to Cincinnati. It was never even close. And now you got Week 17 up against the Rams. It's not looking good, no doubt about it. But the quarterback situation definitely isn't helping Baltimore. All the injuries, not helping Baltimore. But at the end of the day, all you want to do is be able to control your own destiny, and that's what the Ravens are able to do. So let's look at these 3 teams in the wild card. You have Indianapolis, the New England Patriots, and the Baltimore Ravens. Chat Sports is about interaction. It's not about just some random guy wearing a black t-shirt talking about his opinion on NFL games. It's about you guys going down to the comments. It's about you guys arguing for your favorite teams or just your NFL takes. The reason why I'm so damn close to my family is because you go to a family reunion, you go to Christmas time. The reason why I don't have a voice is because all week I've been arguing with my cousins, my aunts, my uncles about certain NFL things. So out of the 3 teams that you see on screen, the 9-6 Colts, if you think they're the most likely to miss the playoffs, I want you to go ahead and type IND. If you think it's the New England Patriots, I want you to go ahead and type any. If you think it's the Baltimore Ravens, I want you to go ahead and type BAL. For me, it's actually not even that close. I'm going to go ahead and type BAL. Now, if you want to yell at me because, like, Mitch, you're an idiot, you don't know what you're talking about, guys, bring it on. Hit me up on IG, Mitchell Renz 365. If you appreciate what we do here around Chat Sports, keeping you guys up to date on videos, just another reason to hit me up on Instagram. Now, I personally am a big guy on social media in terms of I want to keep you guys up to date on what's going on in my life, what's going on in my dog's life, what's going on in my family life, because the more you get to know me, the more you're going to get to know what Chat Sports is all about, and I would really appreciate if you hit me up on IG. So look at some of these other teams going on right now, because when you break down the playoff picture, you got, remember, the Chargers at 8-7, you got the Raiders at 8-7. The Steelers, they lost today. Miami's sitting there at 7-7. And that's currently where I am going to go now. I'm going to take my concentration to Monday Night Football because usually when I do the show, it's after all the AFC games. But the AFC today, man, was such a juicy, juicy day in the NFL. I was like, I'm going to make this video here, and then I'm going to tell you what happens if the Dolphins win and if they lose. The last time I checked, the Dolphins, 3-point favorites on the road in New Orleans, and this over-under is 37. 37 over-under. It might be the lowest over-under I've seen in a regular season game this season. This is usually the over-under you get in a lot of preseason games. So seeing that the Dolphins are favorites on Monday Night Football, seeing that this game is going to be in the Caesar Dome in New Orleans, and the over-under is at 37, who you got? Type MIA for the Miami Dolphins, or I want you to go ahead and type NO for the New Orleans Saints. Last week I did my playoff projection video, and guess what? I'm going to continue to rock and roll with it because that's the time of the season it is. I personally took the Dolphins to beat the New Orleans Saints. I just think that they're playing a lot better. They've won 6 straight games, and this is going to be a defensive game. I also did take the under, but when I got it, it was at 39. So here's the thing. If the Dolphins win this game, they actually become the new number 7 seed with an 8-7 record. But Mitch, how the heck is that possible? Because the Raiders, they beat the Miami Dolphins. Well, the Dolphins have a tiebreaker over Baltimore, and when it really comes down to all these teams having the same record, Chargers, Raiders, Ravens, Dolphins, if they're all sitting there with 8-7, it comes down to basically record next to common opponents, which advantage the Miami Dolphins. So if the Dolphins win, they are now the new team in the wild card spot at the number 7 seed, which is amazing simply because they were 1-7 just a few weeks ago. Now, if they lose, this is what it ends up looking like. The Ravens are still sitting there at the number 7 seed, but Miami is still 7-8. They can still get into the playoffs. And at the end of the day, what do I like? I like competitive football games no matter what. So let's just say now we're going to look ahead to Week 17. Here are the most 5 top games, if you're in the AFC, that you should be watching. Bengals up against the Kansas City Chiefs. Titans up against the Dolphins. Colts against the Raiders. Again, the teams that with the logo, they're the home team. Chargers versus the Broncos. Steelers versus the Browns. I don't want you to miss any of these scores. I don't want you to miss our analysis the entire season. Plus, I'm going to be live on Wednesday. Tom's going to be live tomorrow, 6 p.m. Eastern Time, 3 p.m. Pacific. Don't miss it. Please go ahead, hit that big red button that says subscribe.